welcome to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show. With me now, I have head wrestling coach Dylan Cottrell. Coach, thanks for being here.
Yep, happy to be back.
So, Coach, this past week you hosted Kentucky Wesleyan and Frostburg State. Last week we talked about it being a tune-up. I mean, it ended up being a tune-up. You won 46-5 against Kentucky Wesleyan, 39-12 against Frostburg State. You wrestled pretty much anybody that could wrestle was wrestling. Whether it was an exhibition or a regular match. Just your thoughts on how the event went. Yeah,
I served the purpose that we wanted, right? And I think we lost 3 matches on the full day of maybe wrestling around 30. So, that's what we wanted. None of our starters lost any matches. We won some matches where, I even wrestled our guys in some situations where, if we lost, it may hurt us in regionals a little bit, just because at the end of the day, I felt like the guys that were wrestling in those situations are wrestling good enough, and they needed a good match, right? Mm-hmm. And I trusted them enough to go out there and take care of the business, right? So, it was a really good Thursday night for us. I thought our guys again wrestled with good attitude, good effort. Same thing we've been preaching all year. Other than that one letdown we had, I think it was a very consistent year into regionals. And wrestling how we want to wrestle as a team. So very excited about how that went and how our training's going right now. We've just started our taper phase, right? And we're going into that. So exciting week, one of those weeks where it can't go any slower. I think so. Already it feels like it should be Saturday and it's Tuesday morning. So very excited, just to get to Thursday and the travel phase and going up there, get into Oglebay, kind of relax, get the guys over to the site. The site's at West Liberty, very familiar for us, yeah. Right? Don't love that we have to go there again, right, and wrestle another postseason at West Liberty, but at the same time, it is nice that we've already wrestled a postseason.
You've had success there, too.
And exactly, and won a championship there, yeah. Right? So, heck, why not go do it again? Guys are excited. They're feeling good. Their bodies are going to keep feeling better. We're trying to do just everything right this week. We've talked about so much how much the mental side of it now is going to play a factor just as much as the physical. Everybody's ready. Everybody's doing the same stuff. Everybody's going to taper. Everybody's going to feel good. It's just about mentally. I tell them every day to write down, whatever weight class national champ, 2024 national champ, right? 149 pound, 2024 national champ. They need to see it, right? They need to think it. They need to, even if they don't think it, they need to write it and see it enough that they trick their mind that they do think it.
Make them believe that they can do it.
Yeah, they got to get on that mental high that they're the best in the country right now. Trust their training, trust what they're doing, trust what we're doing as a staff, and everything will be all right.
And then looking at the regional this weekend, like you mentioned, at West Liberty, you're familiar there. It's a tough region. You were talking off air, probably the second best region in the country. Just your thoughts there, especially with a lot of those tough weight classes, like you talked about Guy off air. Just your thoughts about how that's going to go this weekend.
Yeah, so I would say this year is more of a toss-up year in that we have so many guys that are in that 3rd, 4th, 5th seed range where they got to put together a tournament, right, to make it. And that's okay, right? I mean, everyone has to put together a tournament to make it, right? But a little bit more so, I think, in the past. Like last year, we kind of knew we were going to take like at least 4, right? And maybe high-end 7, right? If we wrestled really well, we ended up taking 5, should have had 6, right? So this year, it's a little different. It's not as much of the, for sure's, right? And that's just kind of how this team is, though, right? This team, we last couple years, maybe we had a little bit more of the horses, right? But this team has been very steady, right, and consistent, and that's a good thing,
yeah,
right? But this weekend, some of that consistency needs to go in an uptrend, right? And them wrestling their best at the right time. And I believe it will, right? These guys, this team is consistent. We talked about it. They've wrestled up, right, on their talent level and going out there and really, I think, wrestling as good or better than they practice, right? And that's a good thing. And that's hard to do, right? I don't think people until, and this is not just wrestling, right? In any high-level sports, don't understand how hard it is to translate your practices or your good practices over to competition.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? It's so much easier to just go in the gym, go in the mat room, go in the pool, whatever it is, right? And hit that workout and crush it in front of no one with no anxiety, nothing on the outside, right? And then go do the same exact thing when there are thousands of people or something like an NCAA berth on the line, right? So very excited for the guys. Again, it's a consistent group, and I think that we're going to rise to the occasion.
Well, Coach, I mean, we want to wish you luck this weekend, and appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head men's basketball coach Bob Bolen. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Jagger.
Coach, last week you hosted West Liberty at home, 20th team in the nation, lost 77-73. We talked about it last week in the show about kind of slowing them down, making them play your pace. They only shot 8 of 33 from three, and that was something they did against Fairmont State, but still beat Fairmont by 25. Only beat you by 4, but late down in the stretch, they had an answer for every basket. Just your thoughts on that game.
Hey, it was just a hard-fought game. We lost to them by 35 early in the year, and I thought our guys did a great job of sticking to the game plan. It just came down to crunch time, and they're a top 20 team in the country, and they made a few plays right at the end, and but I thought our guys really competed, had a good chance of winning that game, and I think we're getting better.
And then going to Saturday at Wheeling, you fell 80-75 at Wheeling. Another close loss. And for most of the game, you actually took the lead in the second half. It was tied up at 67-all with about 2:30 left. You went scoreless for the last 2 minutes. Just kind of what went wrong there in those last 2.5 minutes.
Well, we had 3 consecutive turnovers, and it was the second shots. They got 2 shots on their last 7 possessions. So we defended them. Just couldn't come up with the rebound, and that was the factor. They hit the offensive boards, and we didn't box them out and go get the rebound.
And then coming into this week, it doesn't get any easier. He hosts Charleston and Concord. Charleston's sole possession of the MEC right now, 11th in the country last time I saw. Concord's a top 4 team in the region right now. First, Charleston on Wednesday. Kind of that same thing with West Liberty. Obviously they're higher in the rankings, but you played well with West Liberty. What can change in this game against Charleston to be able to finish the game and win it this time?
Well, we're going to have to play well for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Number 11 in the country. We played them well at Charleston.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And, they're coming off of a 42-point win against D&E. So they're one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, that's a big win too.
Yeah, and I think people give them a real shot at going to a Final Four or winning a national championship. So they're a really solid team. Really, we're going to have to defend and stop the drives so we don't have to help and leave them open shooting threes. And as far as the pace of the game, we're going to really have to execute offensively and get a few offensive rebounds. Get a couple easy ones. We need to get out in transition and get a few easy ones. Get a few easy ones after getting an offensive rebound, to go along with the buckets we get executing. And, we've proved that we could play with everybody in the conference.
100%.
Now we got to prove that we can beat some of the top teams in the conference, getting ready for tournament time. And we have 2 of the top ones coming in here, Charleston and Concord.
Yeah. In these games with Charleston, like the West Liberty, these teams want to run fast. They want to shoot a lot of shots, shoot a lot of threes. Is that a thing where you want to slow the pace down, or do you want to play? You want to play the same pace? Because we have guys that can score with the likes of anybody else in the league. Is that something you want to play fast too, or how do you want to? When you go into a game like that, how do you want to do that?
Well, West Liberty and Charleston are totally different. Charleston doesn't play at an extremely fast pace. They're just very efficient.
And the pace they do play, yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to play that pace. They're going to call a set every play, and, we just can't get sped up and throw the ball over the gym. We have to execute. We have to run when we have our opportunities, and then we have to execute in the half-court set against Charleston. And I just think they're a tremendous team. They have 2 guys that are 4-year starters, and they're in their 5th year, one of them, and they're solid all the way around. They only play 8 people, but boy, it's 8 really good players.
Yeah. Well, then on Saturday, you'll face Concord, like we already mentioned, another tough matchup on Senior Day. But, Coach, we appreciate you coming in today, and good luck this week.
Thank you, Jagger.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head acrobatics and tumbling coach Taylor Broadwater. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Coach, this past weekend, lost to number 6 in the country, Frostburg State. Not the score I know that you guys were wanting, but just how did you feel your girls performed overall?
Overall, I'm still very happy with the girls. I know our scores are showing lower than what we started the year, but that does not mean that we're getting worse as a team or a program. We are continuing to move in the right direction. Their performance was still good. We did make some mistakes where we could have been better, I will say that, but by no means did they have a bad meet. Little errors here and there that kind of led to that, but overall, they were right there with the number 6 team in the nation. So.
And then in the tumbling events, the second straight meet, Fairmont is a separation of about 6 points there. Same thing with Frostburg this week. Just issues there, what's going on with the tumbling event, I guess you could say.
Tumbling, our start values aren't as high as, say, Fairmont and Frostburg.
Yeah, and I know you said Frostburg has a really good one, too.
Yeah, they definitely do have higher start values in our tumbling, which is an event that we are working to try and get some start values up a little bit higher and improve there. But the biggest thing is even with our start values being lower, as long as we're executing and doing what we know how to do, we can still hang. So that's what, just trying to close that gap on tumbling where we don't match up necessarily with scores with some other teams is something that we're working on. But overall, like, they executed in tumbling. We made a little bit of a mistake this week in tumbling, but nothing to be too mad about and just things to improve on moving forward.
And then this week you head to Trine all the way to Indiana, a long trip there. How do you get your girls prepared? After two losses that, like we talked before, your scores aren't where you guys would have liked it, but just to make sure your girls are in the right headspace heading out there to get a win, just your expectations there.
Honestly, I can't say that these 2 losses have been something that is really stuck with the girls. They're not really dwelling on it. Going up against nationally ranked teams is where we need to be. In order to hang with the best of the best, we have to compete against them, and those are obviously 2 very, very solid teams, and it's only going to help our program. So I think going into Trine, that approach is just continuing to clean up our stuff and making sure that we're doing what we know how to do. My biggest thing moving forward this week is trying to get the girls to relax and be confident. So when they go out for every single event, like, we're confident when we're going on the floor.
Yep.
I think that's going to settle some nerves, and I'm hoping going to Trine is going to be a good meet for us, just for them to, like, relax, go against our own scores, and at the end of the day, we'll see kind of where the cards fall with that. But I think that Trine will be a good matchup for us.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show. With me now, I have head women's basketball coach Emily Stoller. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me on.
So, Coach, last week went 2-0. Started out the week with a 86-64 win over West Liberty. We had some issues earlier in the year with shooting the 3-ball well. You had 14 as a team. DeJohn Schuler had 5 herself, led the team in scoring with 17. You forced 34 turnovers as a team. Just your thoughts on that game.
Yeah. First, to speak on Dejan's performance there, I've been waiting all year long.
Yeah.
But she had a really good game. She's a player with a ton of potential. The biggest thing she struggles with is her confidence, but we've been trying to instill that throughout the year here, and I'm happy to see she's picking that up here late when we really need her to step up. So she's been filling some big shoes of the players that we have out that we're playing without right now. So proud of her, and I hope to see more of that kind of performance here late in the season with her. Back to the West Liberty game, unpredictable team this year. I mean, their record definitely does not show the talent that they have on their roster. And every game, they're in it. They're close with every opponent in the conference. So we knew that we had to bring it, and I'm glad that we were able to match their threes there and hit them on our home floor.
And then Saturday, you went to Wheeling. There's a game you're up double digits early. It went to overtime. You pulled her away, 97-90. High Haywood and Lauren Calhoun only combined for 10 points against West Liberty. High finished with 33. Lauren, I believe, had 18. So them combining for 51 in that game. Just what did it take for them to bounce back from a slower game from them against West Liberty and to put it together against Wheeling?
Yeah, so I think it's been kind of like that throughout the season. They'll have they'll throw up some weird numbers, real high numbers, and then the next game will be a little bit low. But I think a lot of that has to do, other people were stepping up on the team, and and in some games it's not their time, and they're playing to win the game in those games. And I'm proud of both of them for that. Everyone in the conference, we all know Lauren Calhoun. We all know the name Lauren Calhoun. We all know the name High Haywood.
Yep.
They're all stars in the league. Yeah, up early with Wheeling. I think there were some calls made there that allowed the game to be pulled back in there before halftime. And I'm, really happy with the girls and how they stuck together coming out of the locker room. I know, it's a tough environment to play in down the stretch there. We don't have a ton of late game experience just with the history of the program, under Coach Kim Stevens and putting up big numbers and in the conference. And so it's new. It's new to this team this year. And it's definitely something that we're going to continue working on here for, end of the season play. We do it a lot of in-game and practice. So really tough win up there, and proud of the girls for getting it.
You talked about, getting contribution from other players when High and Lauren aren't, putting up the all-star numbers that everybody expects them to do. Like with the West Liberty game, they combine for 10, but you get other people to chime in like Kamaya Lyons, Dream Cherry, Deshaun Schuler. I mean, I can go on and on. How key is that, especially late in the year now, where because somebody's going to look at you and be like, we got to stop High and Lauren. But you can throw Dream Cherry that can hit 5 or 6 threes. Deshaun Schuler that can do the same thing. Kamaya Lyons. How key is that now late in the year to have other players to contribute? Because some teams become a little one-dimensional. That if we got to run through this player and if it doesn't work, then we're kind of toast. So how key is it to have other players that can contribute in that way?
Yeah, it's super important. Super important. I think I'm really blessed as a coach in my position. I think we have talent from the top to the bottom, and even. I was having a conversation yesterday actually with one of my players, and just of expectations and her role, and her role is just as important and as big as the two at the top. And referring here to Corinne Purchase, she's been a spark plug for us here,
especially on the defensive side.
Defensively, she provides momentum for the team. She had a huge bucket there late in the game for Wheeling. It kept us in the game, and then right after her, Sanaya Morris hit the three to really seal the deal for us. And those are huge momentum changers, and her role just as important. I mean, I could say the same for the rest of the girls. I mean, from top to bottom, I expect, and they know the expectations that I have for all of them. So.
And then looking at this week, you face Charleston and Concord, kind of controlling your own destiny, when it comes to the seeding in the MEC tournament. First with Charleston, they won 4 in a row, and if you go back, 8 of 9. Looks to be a completely different team that you faced earlier in the year when you dropped them off about 25, I believe. What are your expectations there coming into Wednesday? Because they're a team right now that sits a game ahead of you in the standings, in the MEC standings.
Right. Charleston has, they have a really good coach, and she's really put them together. I mean, they were in the same situation that we were in here with the turnover, with the roster, and she has a lot of new kids that she brought in, and it's just about getting those kids to mesh together. And I think as the season has progressed here, she's done a really good job with that, and the statistics are showing it, and the winnings are showing it. So. It's gonna be a tough matchup for us on our home floor. We haven't done extremely well this year on our home floor. We do better in away games for some reason, but excited for the matchup and excited for the challenge. I think after this week, you get 2 big wins, and really our goal is to head into the tournament with some momentum here. So.
And then Saturday, you'll host Concord, another big game as well. But we appreciate you coming on today, Coach, and good luck this week.
Appreciate you for having me.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head baseball coach Jimmy Mullins. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Coach, looking back at this weekend, went 1-2. Started out the weekend on Friday with a win over Mercyhurst, 3-2. They were 5th in the region coming into this weekend. They still sit at 8th, so it's a regional victory for you, a regionally ranked victory. Diego started, had some control issues, had some walks. Julian came in, and we talked after the game. Probably the best he's ever pitched. He went 4 2/3 with 5 Ks and just one hit. What are your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, Julian and Diego both had great performances in that game, as well as Grant Landis came in there. And we'll talk about him, but Julian definitely he came in and held it down and gave us an opportunity. And that's kind of been the message to all of our pitchers. The roles have to be fluid, and we have to buy into that. It doesn't really matter if you're a starter or a reliever, because the 4th, 5th, 6th inning is just as important as the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we play 4 games on the weekends in conference, 7-inning games. And we just have to get rid of the mentality of, hey, I'm a starter or I'm a reliever. That means I'm not as good as the starters. That's not true. There's teams in our region and teams in our division. West Virginia State went to the regional a couple years ago, and they used an opener, which more teams are doing now, to where the figure is you're going to give up some runs later in the game, probably with your bullpen or even with your starter. If you just start with your opener and then come in with the stronger arm, sometimes it gives you some time to figure it out offensively. But excuse me. But our guys, I think, they buy into that. It's a one-inning close mentality. We're trying to close that inning like it's the seventh inning. And it doesn't really matter when you get the ball. When you have the ball, that's the most important inning of the whole day. And they did a great job of that. The Pioneer Classic has been a great event here in Glenville, and we're so thankful to be able to do that again here. We had some great teams here, Millersville, who's nationally ranked, Westchester, Mercyhurst, Dewville, who in their coach's second or third season there, he's doing a great job. I believe they're ranked in their region as well.
Yep.
We had Charleston, who's regionally ranked, was close to going to the World Series here a few years ago. Just a really, really good weekend. We had some great umpires here. They did a great job. The whole game management, all you guys again, thank you for that. And I know it's a lot of time, but it really is a good event. We were able to showcase our field on the MEC network, which is just a great network. And we got a bunch of texts of some other people being able to tune in and watch and how good everything looked. So it's a good event. And we were happy to be able to open up the Classic with a good win, a good regional win. Diego, he's going to continue to get better with his command, but he pitched well enough to keep us in there.
Yep.
Julian came in and did exactly what we needed him to do. And then the breakout debut of Grant Landis came in there and did his thing, and he's really, really tough on the mound as well. He's really good at controlling his emotions, keeping things one pitch at a time, and we were able to get it done offensively. Our offense is a little behind right now. We got to get a little bit tougher, but that's baseball. When your pitching is good, it keeps you in it.
Yep. And then looking to Saturday, Millersville came in 7th in the country, lost 18-1. It was just one of those games that kind of got out of hand a little early. How do you get, with the game like that, to prepare your guys for the next one? Because, you're down 18-1, or sorry, it was 15-1 at the snow delay. How did you get your guys just to have that next game mentality? We just got to, let this one go and get to the next one.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I was very, not in the loss, but I was very disappointed in our approach to the whole day. I was excited to play against Millersville, a nationally ranked team. I'm from that area where they're from. I know about their program. Their coach is an excellent guy. I was just excited to play. I told him I would have chewed through a wall to play. I don't care if it's snowing, raining, tornado. I would want to play. And there was 3 MLB organizations. There was 4 MLB organizations they're watching, and they had mentioned, it stands out who can play through conditions and who doesn't want to, and that means a lot. And it's not about guys that are going to play pro ball or not, but it's just the fact that it's important to want to play the game of baseball no matter what. The conditions are the same for both sides, and I just don't think it's just flat out didn't have enough guys that were excited to go out there and play. And it has nothing to do with the score, just our approach, because, I always say that the brain doesn't understand the difference in stressors. So whether it's snowing sideways or a crowd full of people or, you're down 2 runs in the last inning with a great arm, the brain doesn't really know the difference in those stressors. So if we can't go out and just approach it with enthusiasm, that's a problem. But we did come back against Westchester there the next day, and I was very proud of our approach that day. And, baseball's like, we always talk about like life. Other sports say that their game's like life, but, we have to turn around and play the very next day.
Yep.
We don't play on Saturday and have 6 days to prepare for the next. We have to, no matter what, you have to come back the next day. And often you have to come back the next half hour because we play 2 games in one day.
Yep.
But, we came back and was able to have a little better approach and play a little bit more of our brand of baseball.
And you talk about that Westchester game. It was 1-0 through 6 innings. Lance Minson hit the home run to tie it up, and they scored 13 runs in the last 3 innings. What kind of went wrong there in those last couple innings of the game?
Well, coming in, I a great swing by Lance Minson.
Yeah, it was.
And he needed that. He had a little bit of a mental break going on. He's got a great swing. He's got good pop. Some guys are going to struggle early. It just takes them a little while. So it's good to see him be able to get a swing like that going. Our pitchers were able to keep us in the game. If we, don't make 2 errors in the first inning there, it's probably nothing. We might have a lead late.
Yeah.
Made a little bit of a base running error that people don't really realize what happened there, but we could have had a runner at third base. But our approach is better. What went wrong, we had 2 arms down. It's not an excuse. We had 2 arms down.
Really
for
good
the
arms,
weekend, too. Really good arms, and that would have helped us. But it's also an opportunity for other guys to come in and be able to hold us to it, and it just didn't work out because, Westchester's a great team as well.
And they swung the bat really well this weekend.
They can absolutely swing it.
Yeah.
And, once the floodgates open, good teams just continue to put it on you. And we kind of ran dry with the well there. Our guys that were in there, they were throwing strikes, but, Westchester can swing it, and that's just how it goes. So.
And then we spoke on Grant Landis. He came in, saved a couple games this year, but you threw him out there to start against Westchester. He went 5 innings with 5 hits, 1 run, which was unearned, and 3 strikeouts. This resurgence of him, well, not even a resurgence, just coming on here with the debuts he's had. What do you like from him so far? Being able to close the game, but also being able to start and go the 5 innings, being able to do that.
Yeah, so I have not. Grant Landis is transfer from Garrett Community College, and I haven't seen him pitch a whole bunch. And he didn't pitch very much at Garrett. He was more of a catcher and a hitter. But throughout our fall inter squads, he's thrown well. He had a good debut against Salem in the fall. And obviously up till now, he had that good close and stuff against Mercyhurst. But our plan was to bring him in and kind of like an opener, try to get through the first inning, see where we're at, get through the second inning, see where we're at. And obviously him throwing on Friday, we were going to just monitor how he felt and his pitches. He threw a little more than we planned on, but he was still effective and he felt good. So I know he's in shape and he does all his conditioning, so he'll be fine. But I was very, very happy with how he was able to keep them at bay. Such a great hitting team, keep them at bay for most of the game. And again, it doesn't matter the roles. Every inning is important. So, we could see him on the weekends, depending on, which ones of our arms can come back or not. We could see him start on the weekends. We could see him close. It really is just going to depend on the matchup. And that's a strength of us is I think we have some diversity in the bullpen as far as our stuff, sliders, breaking balls, changeups, the way things move in and out, and we can really match up to the hitters we're facing. And
then looking at this weekend with Tiffin, they're 0-4 right now. They're scheduled to play Wayne State later today. This is a 4-game set. Kind of gives you that look of how conference play is. 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. Just what are your expectations there with being able to get that early look of how the conference schedule will look?
Yeah, I am excited to get back into a 4-game weekend. I don't necessarily love 4-game weekends, but that's what we have in the conference play, so it's going to mirror us getting ready for that. Throughout this week, we're really going to have to hammer down on making our practice environment a little more messy, a little bit harder on the hitters. I got to get them to buy into the fact that sometimes in practice, you have to be able to fail 50% of the time. And what I mean by that is our batting practice has to be hard enough to where, we may not be catching barrels 9 out of 10 swings. It may be, 1 out of every 3. And it's about failing forward. And that's a tough thing to get these guys to buy into sometimes is, number one, their ego doesn't want them to look bad. And we have to get them to buy into the fact that if we're always training comfy and cozy and then you get out in the game and it's tough, we're not ready. So most of us buy into that. I got to get a couple others on board, and that's my job, and we'll get them prepared up. And I really like what we have, and I'm excited to go forward, and I'm excited for the weekend.
You spoke about approach, mentality, all that coming into this weekend. Was it, even though, the losses isn't how you want it to go, was it beneficial still to be able to play these top 25 teams, top 20 teams, even though they were losses? Is it beneficial moving forward playing teams like that?
I do think it's beneficial, and I don't think it was beneficial for us my first or second year here when we were doing those things.
Yeah.
But I think now the way our team is and our program is, I think it's beneficial. Our guys were excited for the most part to play those type caliber teams. It gave us a regional feel. when I was a player at West Virginia State. We were in the regionals the 2 years I was there. It just reminds me of a regional type feel early in the season, and I think our guys were excited for that. I think that they understand that even though there was 2 losses in there was a lot of learning and a lot of growth, and we had flashes of doing things at that level. And it's up to me to get them prepared to be more consistent that way, and I'm excited for that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.